or your dad?
Neither. I look like money.
What's something parents need to stop doing?
Don't keep passing me to everybody at the party. I don't know them damn people.
What's a red flag you had to deal with?
My mama put her cable bill in my name. I don't even know my ABCs yet.
What's a red flag in your parents?
They had the nerve to have me and be broke. I'm talking straight bums.
What's a violation you still mad about?
They hit me with hella shots and didn't even ask me first. They violated my civil rights.
What's a parenting red flag you already peeped?
They got oxtails on their plate and got me drinking Similac.
That's out of pocket. Who you beefing with right now?
My cousin Kalo. Took my fruit snacks, lied about it, now we not cool.
So what's day one out the womb feel like?
Don't ask me that. Don't do that. I'm still processing.
What's a red flag you noticed early?
They call me stinker butt, but it really be they booty stinking. Don't project.
What's a parenting red flag you'd report?
Letting the iPad die mid-video.
What's one thing you're not rocking with right now?
Tummy time is a setup. I'm fighting for my damn life.
What's something they do that's mad disrespectful?
Acting like I don't smell myself. Change me, bruh. The Trevor Jackson Podcast.
Hey man, before we even get into the conversation, I want to say thank y'all for tuning in to my show, for sharing my show, just for spending your time on my platform. You are greatly appreciated. Real spill. I about not got on the mic this weekend. It was slow in media this week. But some things popped off these last few days, man. I was under the weather. You know, I'm in the Carolinas, located in the Carolinas. It was 100 last week, then it was 70 all week this week. You know, my body got confused and I became under the weather. But, you know, I'm here with y'all right now, and I'm here to chop it up about society's outrage, about the things that's going on in the culture. I know y'all seen the title where I'm going to be speaking about Nick Fuentes. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, but he put out a message talking about dear black people. And we're going to get to that conversation. I don't want to give too much of my thoughts right now, though. But, you know, I think that is to the point where you're being malicious when you're speaking about a race in totality. Like everybody is the same, because nobody speaks about no other race in totality but the black race. They want to tie actions from a certain amount of people and say that the majority acts that way. And, you know, I'm going to combat that on this episode, but we're not going to start the show off with that. You know, something else that happened this week, it was announced on BET that the Hip Hop Awards was going to be canceled, and the Soul Train Awards, not canceled, but suspended. Let me be correct with my terminology. Suspended. So when I seen that, I was like, wow, the BET Awards, the awards for the whole channel, it was great this year. They did a good job. They had, you know, Kevin Hart hosted. They had a lot of the streamers. They had Glorilla there. They had all of the celebrities there. Kendrick Lamar made an appearance. It was just overall a good show. And now they're announcing that they're suspending the show. We're going to talk about that. They're suspending the hip hop shows and the Soul Train Awards, which has been around my whole lifetime. You know, I have a playlist on my phone also that's a soul playlist, and it updates like every day. And soul music, they're releasing some of the best quality music in the game right now. And I just think that they're not prioritizing artists that's not signed to a label, that's not under a contract. It's interesting, this music business and this entertainment business, because people want to have an agreement with you that they have some sort of control over you or want to prioritize you before they put you in the limelight. You got to have a deal with somebody. So we're going to talk about Ari Lennox and her statements about colorism on Martin, also Lil Boosie, Lil Tay creating the OnlyFans. You know, I be trying to defend men from time to time, but this time I really can't defend no group of individuals. I only can defend actions and character from individuals. I'm through defending groups of people. But we're going to get into the show, man. I'm going to play some music. A few albums dropped this week. And tomorrow I'm going to be reacting to all three of these albums. So, God doesn't like ugly. God does like ugly by JID. Phenomenal album. Salute. I already listened to it, but I want to react to it. The last one, Gunna, dropped his last album on YSL. Fire. Juicy J from 3-6 Mafia. I'm from Tennessee, so I gotta highlight that. Salute to Juicy J. And I see people are sampling a lot of his music, and he's getting up there in age, and he's still creating high quality music. But we're gonna get into the records, man, before the show starts, and we're just gonna chop it up with y'all, man. And this is Made for This Shit by Gunna. Let's go. Salute to Gunna, man. When I listened to this album earlier this week, when it first released, I was thinking like, Lil Baby, Young Thug. I don't have the same perception of them now that Gunna isn't in their presence doing features with them. Gunna is a once in a lifetime artist. Like, he makes it look easy to make hit records. And he's doing his thing. I know he has the allegations that people perceive him to be a snitch and all of that. And I've talked about this multiple times on my channel, but I think that the culture is changing. And I think that America is changing in totality. That snitching and that street stuff, man, it's dying. It's over with. If you participating in those activities and that lifestyle, you don't have not that many options to expect. You should expect somebody to snitch on you. You should expect to die. You should expect to go to jail. That's the expectations of that lifestyle. Ain't nothing else gonna happen. I participated in that stuff, but I've been removed for well over a decade now. And it took a lot of, it took a lot of trial. It took a lot of error. It took a lot of, me being disciplined to be able to remove myself from that. No matter what tomorrow may have looked like, no matter what my finances look like, I just couldn't go back because I knew the outcome. And at the end of the road, God blessed me, man, and made me be able to create my platform, be able to continue to do the things that I love without being able to participate in those things. So one thing I want to do is salute Gunna. Because when he got out, we seen where his focus was. His focus was on music. His focus was on his health. His focus was on bettering his life. He wasn't talking bad about niggas. He wasn't dissing folks in records. His focus was on elevating and being a better individual. And I salute that and I commend that. No matter if he told or not, you know, thug home now. So what? At the end of the day. Now, I'm going to tell y'all some more topics because we got a real power-packed show today that I'm going to be discussing on this episode. And you know, it was interesting to see that Finesse 2 Times mom went live recently, right? And she created a GoFundMe because she said that her son isn't helping her. Her son isn't, you know, contributing to the finances no more. And I remember a time when they was in my hometown, Knoxville, Tennessee, and they did a show at Cannabuzz, right? It's a local spot where they sold CBD, they sold killer and weed and all of that, and they had food and drinks and people performing there. And it was viral. And my homeboy caught the footage. I'm proud of my boy Los. Caught the footage. He went viral. He made some money off the situation and everything though. But the mom took the pot. The mom is a gangster. And she got to a point to where she seen her son making money and all of that, and she became dependent on her son. We're going to further that discussion later on in the show, though. You know, it's another thing. I want to talk about the future of AI, the future of truck driving. We're going to further the discussion with, you know, Sha'Carri Richardson and her boyfriend fighting and all of that old type of stuff in the airport. And we're just going to get to it, man. But before we get to that, and I want to first start the conversation off with Dreamville, with JID's album. You know, he just released it. God Does Like Ugly. And my favorite record off of this so far, because I'm just now getting into it, you know, it's new, it's Glory. He has an orchestra, a choir from Memphis, Tennessee. And they did their thing on her, man, on this song Glory. They didn't want to do the song with him initially. We're going to react to this album later on in the week on the channel. But before we react to it, we're going to get to this song, man. Glory. Let's go.
Early in the morning, got the sun in my eyes, giving glory to God, I'm alert and alive. I ain't even sleep, I've been working, I'm tired, but it's not gonna deter my assignment. At the Lord's service like I'm working a job. Black man shouted robbing people in Cobb, playing crime mob, he a child of the corn. Take him into court and on the Bible he sworn. Take him in the church, you know your mama done gone. To praise the king with the crown that's provided with thorns. Breaking rules, skipping school, fire alarm. Got with a crew, made the truth and alliance was formed. Got a shooting in the virus was born. The world spinning as he look into the eye of the storm. Pray for the boy back head and lock arms. And lock your car doors, he could trigger the alarm. Got caught one time and they left him with just a warning. Got baptized in cold water, it turned warm. He blacked out, don't act out, he ain't performing. The only path now is back to prison reform or you know the sad route. The kids get into the game and then cash out. The baby got swerving in the lane and then crash out. It happens when you taking the fast route. But I be trying to understand the mind of when you're living in trauma, to find a way around to put it behind us. Mission was unaccomplished, it was tough, but in the rough we found the category of my life a comedy drama. Come with the stick to the stone. Come with a red, I don't care. Come on, they got song. They gon' get hit shot, but he drop me, get me gone. Cause when daylight come, D is gon' wanna go home. Oh,
He's decked us out. Hasn't God decked you out? Hasn't He made you brand new? Brought you up out of the muck and the mire, turned you around and placed your feet on solid ground. He's decked you out. Can I get a witness? And catch this? And catch
nighttime I can see the stars and moon and the light shine down on the walls and windows. No dust, no glory, no thugs, no booze, just us. My story, my life, my rules, my fight, my flight. When the light hit the dunes of my heights, my move in the club off a lot of shots of class. Say I do hungover, do $1 million meetings on Zoom. Let this on. Hey, Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead, Victoria.
Hey guys, hey Jen. Just getting back from a meeting. The numbers are looking great, and we're about to get.
Look, it's me. I'm against the odds. Trying to keep me the city evil in my eyes. This is the Lord, so I leave it with God. But if you don't move forward, I'ma see me mine. But you can't out your closet, I'ma empty mine. And if you take me since I'm 69, take a drive till exhibit. Help me ride to make a switch. Anything that I gon' get me done. Just in case I'm in the wrong state of mind, which I am all the time. But I always in line. Diamonds and gold shine, twinkling, glisten. The separate from fine. Trying to get your attention, but I give it to the most high. Millionaire, multi-talented, multi-tasking, master, multi-faceted, multi-functioning, stand-up, profile caliber, profile passengers, no lot matters, but matter whatever. Meet the pastor, open the Bible up and read his chapter. I'm trying to free the shackle. Brought it back inside the stairs, watch it say the prayer. Garden to eat and say he couldn't help but eat the apple. After all, I'm at the chapel in his statue. I know my foundation, Bill Castle's even a statue. No location in a time capsule. I'm sending glory up to God to give it back to you. Casual.
Nothing in my wardrobe compares to what he's outfitted me with. Calvin Klein can't touch it. Gucci can't touch it. Louis Vuitton can't.
You know, I want to give that brother a round of applause. You know, he's from Atlanta. So when I think of Atlanta, Atlanta is a multiplex city. Crunk music, trap music, street music, drug-induced music, Future with the singing, Outkast with the I don't even know how to define their music. Goody Mob, CeeLo Green, R&B, So Def. It's just so many complex. It's just a lot in Atlanta. But to hear somebody spit like that with lyrics, I was first aware of this young brother, and I know I'm late. So y'all can say whatever y'all want to say about me. I know I'm late to the party. I'm late to JID. And I first heard him when he did the track with Eminem. I reacted to it on the channel about 3 weeks ago. And the song was phenomenal, and I heard the lyrics and the bars, and I think this brother is positioning himself to be one of the best artists in the game. Now he's on a press run speaking. He went on Joe Budden's podcast, and you know, salute to Joe Budden. I want to just salute him one time. The Breakfast Club used to be the premier spot for people to, you know, come and be guests and speak and be interviewed and promote their creativity, but it's not no more. When it comes to hip hop and artistry, it's Joe Budden's platform. You want to talk to somebody who participated in the game and understands the bars and the lyrics and, you know, the region and what the music mean. And Joe Budden's platform is great for that. You know, don't let me get no money because the Southeast going to be on lock. The Southeast going to be on lock. Everybody going to be coming to my platform because they ain't going to have no choice. They going to know that I understand the game. I understand what they trying to do and where they trying to take it. And he went on Joe Budden's platform, JID, and he had something profound to say. He went on a couple of more platforms and he had some profound things to say. But, you know, I want to talk about Dreamville for a minute. They got Boz over there. They had Ari Lennox over there. They got Earth Gang over there. They got, I forgot Buddy from, I keep forgetting his name too. But he got a song called Goldmouth. Nigga lived down the street from me. That's what's crazy. In Charlotte. He from Charlotte. He a dope ass artist. They got some dope shit in Dreamville. And I feel like they holding down the Southeastern as a label. And I wasn't too up to speed on JID. But when I got up to speed on him, I liked him a lot. And you know, people are on the internet talking about that he and Cole have complications and they beefing and he ain't promote this record right, because we seen how the Clips rollout was. They was on everybody's platform talking. For Cole and Dreamville and the label to hear this album and not, you know what I mean, have this brother everywhere on all type of platforms speaking, they feel like there was a lackluster effort on the label to promote this guy. and he's still defending J. Cole.
But that happened.
look,
This
you ain't
recently
getting
happened, and Boss spoke to this.
What?
Boss spoke to. They didn't go public, but I mean, Dreamville sold Dreamville, and Cole looked out for everybody that was a part of Dreamville.
I heard Boss talk about that.
That's one of the most beautiful things in hip hop right there. That never fucking happens.
that's dope.
That
Yeah, that's
never
dope.
fucking happens, and it happens to the regard where if niggas on Dreamville that was a part of it don't want to do music and they just want to move on with their life, they'll be good.
Damn. Oh, that good.
Be straight. Like, you do it because you love it, not because it's you trying to
feed your
dang,
family.
like,
Oh, you about to shoot a lot of videos.
Dog.
Word. Yeah.
I'm just saying, if we want to speak to
That's fire.
real shit
That's
in the
fire.
industry, we want to talk about apology. Nigga, apologize 30 more
Yeah,
times. Nigga,
exactly.
that is the greatest nigga on fucking earth.
Wow.
And ain't in this predatory ass industry, nigga get up with a
That's real stuff.
That's fire.
That's how it. That's how it.
and this ain't got nothing to do with that, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
yo,
that's
nigga
fire.
was blessed in the most
Imaginable.
unimaginable, selfless. You ain't have to do that. I know hella niggas who sold their subsidiaries or whatever in
And ran off. Ran right over. Never saw him again.
For sure. I was talking to. Damn, I don't
Somebody
know,
else
put him out
would
like
have
that.
grown over me, man. Shut up, nigga. Oh.
But that's when, like, that's one of the greatest things I ever seen in music.
You know, I don't want to make this about J. Cole, but he made it about J. Cole. So Hot New Hip Hop put out an article after that interview. You know, we're going to talk about it, but I want to speak about J. Cole for a minute because it's important. You know, to me, Nas is my favorite rapper of all time. Jay-Z is an inspirational rapper based upon the finances he have obtained in his business acumen. J. Cole, me being in North Carolina and listening to his music, and it matches the ambiance and the scenery and the feeling of the state, he's my second favorite. I don't care about apologizing. You know, everybody that is participating in hip hop beef and speaking about beef talked crazy about J. Cole for apologizing. He lame. He this. He that. That didn't change the way I felt about him as an artist. I don't know this brother as a man, but as an artist, you know, I don't want to live in a toxic environment my whole life. I don't want to participate in hatred and animosity and beef and foolishness and shit over and over again. I commend him for that. I commend J. Cole for backing out that beef. That was unique to me. That had never been done. Do something that never been done in your life, man. Quit following the trends. DJ Academics was one of the individuals who talked about this beef, and he talked about it, and he spoke about it in a way like Cole lame because he didn't entertain the foolishness. He didn't entertain the people. You know, appreciate my art, man. Appreciate the art. Appreciate the creativity. You know, a lot of people want the tea. A lot of people want to see you embrace beefing and shooting in streets and all of that. They want to see the downfall of the black community. They want to embrace, they want to be entertained by the downfall of the black community. You see the title of the show, Society in an Outrage. You know, when I walk out the door, I represent y'all. I'm not going to walk out the door with a bonnet on and some slides on. I'm going to walk out the door with integrity, with my head held high, with my back up straight, standing on business because I represent y'all. I expect y'all to do the same. You know, speak up for Cole for doing that. Just because you want to be entertained and you looking at him as lame for backing up at the beef, that means you a fuck nigga at the end of the day because you want to embrace the dumb shit. Let me read the article because Ibrahim Hamad clarifies the new Dreamville deal after JID and Boss sell comments. So, you know, Dreamville is currently facing a lot of discussion in hip-hop discourse, not just for the new JID album, but also for J. Cole and the label's money moves as of late. His manager and label co-founder Ibrahim Hamad recently took to Twitter to clarify the collective status after some comments about its major label's partnership. For those unaware, these comments came from a Boss interview with Elliott Wilson and a conversation on the Joe Budden podcast with the guy Does Like Ugly Spitter. They revealed that when Dreamville recently ended their partnership with UMG. That's interesting. Drake is suing UMG. J. Cole ended his partnership with UMG. Let me keep reading. Cole gave his artists big checks to share the payout. However, it turns out that this cash does not represent a sale of the imprint. Rather, it's just windfall and extra luck and fortune, presumably as a result of the partnership's terms of closure. For those that misunderstood, we did not sell Dreamville. Ibrahim wrote, "Never will, never would. We ended our Dreamville partnership with UMG, and some blessings came with that. And when blessings comes our way, it's only right to share those blessings with the family." Just some clarity. You know, that's interesting. Because when most people sell their label and sell their entities and all of that, they don't share the proceeds with their artists. We think about Bad Boy. We think about QC, P, and all of them boys. We think about Death Row. We think about a lot of these record labels that's owned by an artist, put artists on, but they're up under a imprint of a Universal or a Atlantic or a Def Jam or whatever. When they sell their proceeds, the person that is at the head, the Birdmans, the Rick Rosses, the Puff Daddies, the Jay-Z's, they keep all the money. Salute to J. Cole for putting his people in position to where they will never have to rap again. They are rich forever. Now, I want to keep it into the Dreamville conversation because Ari Lennox, Shea Butter Baby, she was one of the dopest artists on the label. I remember she was celebrating that J. Cole came and got her from her warehouse job. I think it was Lowe's or Home Depot or one of those places. And he came and got her and gave her a deal. You know, she just recently went viral for talking about the Martin Show and colorism and things like that. But I love Ari Lennox's music and her artistry, but she's always complaining about some shit. Like, you know, I'm not used to artists always complaining. You know, Will.i.am is one of those artists that makes phenomenal music. But when you complaining about shit all the time, that's when people don't want to be around folks complaining. Am I lying? Tell me that in the comment section. What's your thoughts about that? Do you want to be in the presence of people complaining? Let's get to it, though.
What pissed me off about Martin was how much he would go on Pam. Like, I know, like, and this is coming from a girl who I love me a good, like, joking ass movie, and even when the joking movie is like, damn, like, that was fucked up. Like, you know, I'm not like too woke or something is what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm honestly not, I'm problematic. I'm pretty problematic, low key. But my point is that there are some things where I draw the line and it just bothered me. Or like, I don't know, it's like, Pam was so fucking beautiful and so fine. And I just feel like growing up as a chocolate girl, like, I don't even know if I was able to understand the greatness of Pam because of the light that I feel like I was being fed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like always going on Pam, always, like, that's all I remember. And I didn't like that. But like, so I feel conflicted because while I feel like this show is incredible, and I feel like Martin is a legendary show, and all of the actors, and Tommy, and like everybody, like legendary, amazing. Like, I adore them all. Like, you have no idea. And I adore Martin. Like, I adore him. It just pissed me off. Like, the joking on Pam, I just didn't like that, you know? Like, I'll always kind of feel a way about that.
You know, this generation is weak. I just want to tell y'all, and I just want to be honest with y'all. When I listen to y'all speak and stuff, y'all are bothered by everything. Growing up, I remember my close friends, we used to be talking about, look at your mama, I'm your daddy, boy. We knew we wasn't each other daddy or whatever, though, but we used to be calling each other, your mama cute today, boy. She put that on for me. We used to just be joking, and our jokes used to be extremely harsh. We used to talk about each other's shoes and haircut, but it made you better, man. You know, this generation is offended by everything. You can't say nothing. This cancel culture. I don't participate in it. At one point in time, was saying cancel people, cancel Fat Joe, cancel this person, cancel that. I'm not a part of that no more because that shit lame as hell. It's super lame. And you know, she said, I couldn't understand Pam's greatness because Martin was always going in on Pam. Pam was always going in on Martin. Also, it was just the nature of the way that the 90s was. People was joking, man. Your closest friends had the most harsh jokes towards you because they was close to you. And if you couldn't deal with that pain or that hurt, you couldn't go outside your friendship group to be able to converse with other people because you would be easily offended. And being easily offended is lame. She also talked about because Pam was a dark-skinned woman, you know, she didn't understand that people didn't appreciate her beauty. Everybody knew Pam was bad. You know, this is my era. I was a teenager in my early teens when Martin was out. Everybody thought Pam was bad. Everybody thought Gina was bad. You know, the girls thought Martin was handsome and Tommy, and he was the dope boy and all of that old type of stuff. They had Biggie. I watched every episode. I got the box DVD set still. You know, even though I don't got a DVD player. But it's just that Ari Lennox, man, these complaints and this nagging and stuff, it got to stop. But what I'm going to say before I read Pam's response is that Ari Lennox said that she's problematic. So it's you that's the problem. It's not Martin's show. I see a lot of people agreeing with what Ari Lennox is saying about Martin and colorism, and is Martin a colorist? I don't agree with that. I don't think Martin is that. You know, it was before Martin's show. If you know your history, Gina and Pam was on the first house party. Gina and Pam was also on Little Shop of Horrors, where that plant was talking. Feed Me Seymour. I know I might be aging myself or whatever though, but that show Feed Me Seymour with the plant talking, they was on that show also, on that movie. I mean, it's just that they had a chemistry and a relationship before Martin existed. So you got to know your history before you start speaking bad on a person though. But let me read this press release by Tashina Arnold. I don't want to call her Pam. Tashina Arnold. She said, Martin cracking on Pam did not come from a mean place. And the reason why I could say that because I was there as we were developing it. Where that came from was that me and Martin really went back and forth like that, she said. Our relationship and our dynamic was really built upon me being the best friend. And you know, the best friend is always the third wheel. She's always the hater. It had nothing to do with color, so that, you know, black women, dark-skinned women, they get insulted. So it was not derived from that at all, because that's not how Martin is. Salute. Salute to Shawty, man. Real talk, man. That's, you know, Martin is a generational show that black people as a whole should protect that and hold that at a high standard, because that was a good time in our culture and it highlighted us and it embraced us in a comedic, fun way that, you know, I feel like it's one of the dopest shows of all time. In Living Color, Arsenio Hall. Some of those shows, we have to protect the integrity in that. Real talk, man. Let's move along into the the main topic of the show before we get into some more of the interesting conversations. Nick Fuentes and the foolishness he spewed this week. They're black people. Let's get to it.
It's a shame. I really do believe, look, I think black people are not irredeemable, but there just needs to be brutal honesty. It's like, look, these black people are really struggling and they're turning into these maniacs. It seems like they don't do anything right. They're obnoxious, they're rude, they're inconsiderate, aggressive, cruel, and, you know, look, nobody hates black people for being black. If there are people like that, I think that's exceedingly rare, and I don't consider myself one of them. The reason that people have negative attitudes about black people is because most people's interactions with black people are negative. Most people's interactions with black people is when you're stuck in traffic and you see a Nissan Altima speeding down the shoulder. And you say, what the fuck? You're not supposed to do that. If everybody did that, it would just be another lane, and, you know, not everybody can do that. But it's like these people have no respect for decorum. They think the rules don't apply to them. They have no respect for society. Like, that's their interaction is they are a waiter and they wait on a black table and the black people don't tip and they're fucking rude. That's most people's interactions. It's stuff like that. They go to the DMV and they see a black person behind the counter and they say, oh, here we go. And the person's rude. Now, it just goes to show people are not racist. It goes to show people don't like people that are rude. It's unpleasant. People want to be treated with consideration and respect. And it is true that black people are, in this day and age, unfortunately, seem to have very low moral character. It's not even...
You know, I seen people on the internet agreeing with his statements. Black people have low moral character. Black people are obnoxious, rude. They work as waiters. They work at the DMV. When you see them, you want to go the opposite direction because you know that they're going to be hostile or they're going to be mean or they're going to be whatever your perception is about black people. Problematic, unpleasant, all of this negative stuff that I don't identify with. And black as a people isn't a people. Black is a color. It isn't a people. It's not a race of people. It's your perception. So he's saying people are not racist. People want to be respected. I know I'm speaking from a historical standpoint, but have y'all redeemed yourself as a people, the whole entire globe? Have y'all redeemed yourself for what was done to black people? Not just slavery, because slavery is implemented, but through creating these laws, the civil rights, integrating us with y'all so y'all could profit off of us. So we could integrate with y'all and y'all profit off of having us in y'all leagues. Don't know black people own no NFL team. Don't know black people own no MLB team. We stopped our league so we could integrate with y'all. You know, the civil rights are integration, welfare, taking the fathers out the home. So this is just, to be honest with you, I don't identify with the people that he's speaking about because it's a reality that certain black people, and I'm going to talk about it on this show because it's just certain things and certain black people, they don't represent us well. And when other ethnicities and races see those people, they look at the whole as if we're all that, and we're all not that. We're all not that. So you representing us and you going outside, it holds a weight, you know, to your lineage, to your people, to your children, to your grandchildren. You got to think about generationally when you present yourself, because you have these hot dang on racist crackers like this guy talking about us in a whole as if we're all the same. We all have low moral character. That's cap. You know, I don't know who this Nick Fuentes guy is. I know he did an episode with Candace Owens as of recently, and it was like something that she put under a paywall, and I didn't get to see it because I ain't paying to see none of these racist individuals speak like this. Dear black people, you're not speaking to me or at me because I don't even identify as black. I identify as an American. And I don't think white people should identify as white. Also, because that means you don't know who your lineage is. You don't know where you come from. They want to erase your history and have people like this speaking to you or towards you for their social media or their platform benefit when this dude is a goofy.
I mean, the violence is pretty striking. If you live your life and you know that you're going to be mugged by black people, it kind of colors your opinion or perception of black people, wouldn't you say? If 99% of the carjackings and stabbings and shootings that you see in Chicago are by black people, when you're walking down the street late at night, guess what you're looking for? Black people. And you equate that with danger. And it doesn't take a lot of them to spoil the whole bunch like that. And we just want black people to take accountability and say, look, I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad person. It just seems that every time I encounter you people, for the most part, it's negative. And sometimes extremely negative, like I could get a gun in my face. You know? That's a problem. And people go, well, you are just loaded up with hatred and racism. It's like, I'm really not. I'm a really friendly person. I'm a really polite, friendly person. I give everybody a chance. But if I'm someplace and I see some black person walking in with their pants sagging and they can't articulate what their problem is or what they need, and they're rude and they're aggressive and I'm in fear for my life, like, yeah, I have a problem with all of that. And people go, and these black people go, well, you're racist, you're racist. It's like, no, I just hate inconsiderate behavior. If black people were super well behaved, we would be racist in the other direction. We'd say, black people, oh yes, dude, yes. My day is about to turn around for the better. What can I help you with, sir? Please, come right on in. Man, what a relief to see you here. You're a sight for sore eyes. If black people were known for being the best, then we would be racist in the other direction. Oh, finally. So yeah, that really bothers me. It just bothers me in this damn ass city, because that's all it is in Chicago, is just these black people who can never take accountability. It's always some.
So he's located in Chicago. I just heard that at the end. I apologize for the imagery not being aligned with what he's saying with the words. I had trouble finding that video also because I seen a lot of reactions, but I couldn't find where the original video was. But he said if black people were known for being the best, black people are known for being the best in certain aspects. Just like white people are known for being the best in certain aspects, and they're known for being the worst in other aspects. You know, you can't equate black people with hindering other races and starting wars and killing people to obtain power. That's just not our trait. But you can obtain other races with that. Real talk. We see it. You know, one thing he said that I do agree with is that I just read a stat that said 85% of black people are illiterate in this country, and they can't read and they don't want to read. And that just made me think of you can hide anything from a black person, put it in a book. But, you know, speaking to certain individuals and they can't articulate themselves is interesting, because I speak to a lot of people in our culture, and a lot of people can relate to me from the hood and in the hood, and people that watch my channel and stuff, and people that interact with me. But when I talk back to them, they really can't articulate themselves, and it really has me in a place where I don't like that. And he had a point when he said that. So I suggest, you know, as a people, our people need to read more, educate themselves more, and make themselves more literate to where you have an understanding for what's going on around you and for what you need to be saying and what needs to be said. I just don't like that he wrapped us all up in totality, talking about hold yourself accountable. And every encounter he have with black people is negative. That's not true. I don't have a negative bone in my body. I don't talk to no race negative, me personally. So I may look like my people. I embrace my people. I love my people. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be held accountable for a few of my people's actions. I don't want my family, my loved ones, my wife, my sister, my nieces and nephews to be held accountable for a few people's actions, because majority of us isn't like that. And he want to string us all up as one when we don't do that with other races. We don't look at everybody white like they Donald Trump. We don't view everybody white like they Epstein. You know, it's just foul to hear him say this, dear black people in totality. This will be my first time speaking about Nick Fuentes, and this will be my last time speaking about Nick Fuentes. I ain't Candace Owens. I'm not getting ready to be in white people business all the time, speaking about white business and what they talking about. Just like how they come over here and speak about black problems and black issues. You know, fuck Nick Fuentes at the end of the day. Real talk. I'm getting ready to switch it up to the next conversation. You know, BET suspended the Hip Hop Awards. I want to play what Fat Joe had to say about this because it's important to play Fat Joe's statement. Even though I done monetized Fat Joe, counseling Fat Joe, him talking about Puerto Ricans deserve 50% of the creation of hip hop was blasphemous to me. But he had something to say about the BET Hip Hop Awards being suspended because he had been the host of the BET Hip Hop Awards for a couple of years. So let's hear what Fat Joe had to say.
This is a form of gentrification, what's going on right now. Right? So I don't know if y'all really want to ask me about this shit right here, right? So BET came up as a community station for black people, right? The urban culture. And our man, Bob Johnson, took the check. He sold it, first black billionaire, whatever the case may be. He sold it to Viacom and Paramount, MTV and them, VH1 and them. Little by little over the years, quietly, they've been firing a lot of people behind the scenes in BET, and everybody who has something to say, they've been firing them and this and this and that. And I know because I've been working on the BET Hip Hop Awards for 3 years. Shit was like the budget, not for me, but the budget just getting chopped and chopped and chopped. And last year, I debuted my single with Khaled in the VMAs, and Katy Perry still flying through the air in the VMAs. They still blowing out of the cannons. They still flying in the air. They still got all the tricks. They still got the budgets. They got the shit, you know. And so I think in the entertainment world, I don't think I know this was like a form of gentrification. They kept underfunding them, and you ain't got no money to be creative. That's why you was watching the Ratchet Awards and all that. They ain't had no bread.
You know, I know what gentrification is, but I want to read the AI overview for my people who may not know what gentrification is in its simplest terms. It is when wealthier people move into a poor neighborhood, such as BET, causing changes like increased property values and the displacement of the original lower income residents. I feel like what Fat Joe was talking about didn't pertain to what the BET Awards was and what it stood for. Me, to be honest with you, I feel like artists isn't creating high quality content. A lot of artists don't want to show up to the award shows. they removed the freestyles from the hip hop awards when freestyling is something that is, you know, rooted. It's the ground of rap, being able to freestyle. Because before I ever wrote a song in my life, I used to go to the radio station in my city and freestyle. I used to go back and forth with my homeboy. We used to sit on the back of the car and play the beats and freestyle and just speak about our life experiences and what we got going on. And we used to just kill it with words. That is the root of rap. If you can't freestyle, you can't make a song. Like, it's just the roots of it. So they removed the battles and the freestyling from the BET Hip Hop Awards. BET is still going to go along with the awards, but who cares at the end of the day? Who really cares about BET in totality because it doesn't represent black? Even though I play Fat Joe isn't black. Why are we celebrating and why are we making him a host at the Black Awards? It's supposed to be black only. And not saying that I'm a racist individual though, and I don't even like BET as a channel, to be honest with you, because once it was sold, we should have, you know, came together and said we ain't going to support this unless you keep highlighting black in totality. BET is a channel I can't even really watch. I don't want to see old episodes, sitcoms of shit from the 90s, the Jamie Foxx show, the Martin Lawrence show, the Wayans brothers shows, and all of that old type of stuff. That's just not for me. What are we creating new? What are we creating that's going to uplift the culture, that's going to uplift people and make them want to get into their artistic bag to create something that is in the best interest of our people? The BET Awards is over with, but I don't know why they suspended it. So I want to read this article according to Vibe to y'all. Why was the Soul Train Awards and the BET Hip Hop Awards suspended? So BET has officially hit pause on two of its most iconic shows, the BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards. Both award shows have reportedly been suspended indefinitely, according to the network. BET CEO Scott Mills confirmed the news in an interview with Billboard, saying, so far BET Linear we have suspended the Soul Train and Hip Hop Award shows, but we have a team that's actively thinking about where those award shows might best live as the media climate continues to evolve. They aren't gone, and we also still have the NAACP Image Awards and the Stellar Awards. Hold up now. Now I want to talk about this for a minute because they said they're not gone. But as the media climate continues to evolve, see, what I think about BET, they are reactive. They're not proactive. You have to be proactive if you want to continue to evolve. Like, they need somebody that is going to be active on what's going on in the social media climate, in the internet climate, to keep things like this going, these award shows, to keep highlighting individuals. Because if you ain't proactive and you reactive, then you're going to have to stop for a couple of years to catch up. They ain't caught up. They behind right now. So by them being behind, they struggling. And they're going to have to figure out what's the best place to put these platforms on. So basically they're suspended. They're not over. Clarifying further, he added, it's less about them being no longer and more about our team having to reimagine them for this change in media landscape that we find ourselves in. I think what we're going to see are more people taking franchises and saying, this might have started on linear television, but now I'm going to move it to another space. Do I move it to streaming or do I move it to another platform? You know, Netflix would be dope, because when I think about people like Tyler Perry, Eddie Murphy, they ain't in the movie theaters no more. They releasing stuff strictly to Netflix because it's just a different climate. You got to be able to adapt to what's going on in the culture. And these hip hop award shows, they're going to be on Netflix or they're going to be on Amazon Prime. They're going to be on some sort of platform where they're streaming, Twitch, YouTube, or something like that, because it's just what's in the best interest of it. Television is dying, and people got to be proactive and not reactive. Real talk. Let me see what they keep talking about. The BET Hip Hop Awards launched in 2006, while the Soul Train Awards trace back to 1987. For decades, both shows have celebrated artists and influential figures' contributions to black culture and music. The original BET Awards currently remains active, as it recently celebrated 25 years since its inception. BET also recently announced a revamping of its hit show 106 & Park into 106 & Sports. Mills explained to Billboard, 106 & Sports is a collaboration with Spring Hill Entertainment, and everybody is working feverishly to get it ready to launch in the fall. We're going to start with a weekly show at that point with lots of wonderful guests. It will apply the best elements of the 106 & Park structure and format to the sports world. He emphasized that while music remains central to BET, the network is recognizing how sports have become an integral part of the culture. You know, I'm done reading this, but I want to say like they could have went back to the music business, man. The sports it's actually lame, to be honest with you. The sports is actually lame. Like, you know, I know Cam Newton's supposed to be a part of that also, the 106 & Sports, but you know, I feel like you have to be proactive and not reactive. And them not being up on it and not having younger individuals telling them what's popping, they slacked and they lost millions and billions of dollars. When they could have been creating something and continuously moving forward in the culture if they would have just, you know, dumbed themselves down a little bit and got focused on what they needed to get focused on. Real spill. Let's switch the conversation up, man. I want to go back to a conversation that I had last week on the previous episode where Will.i.am said, Black Thought is 1,000,000,000 times better than Jay-Z. A lot of y'all agree with Will.i.am. You know, I feel like it's a decisive statement. It's a statement that creates separation, that breeds competition and confusion. 1,000,000,000 times better than Jay-Z? I don't think it's not one rapper on the planet that's 1,000,000,000,000 times better than Jay-Z. I feel like somebody put Will.i.am up to say something like that. And you know, one of the legends, one of the artists that I consider to be a top 10 artist in the game, maybe top 5 skill level and bars and lyricist wise. But Jadakiss responded to that. You know, we're going to keep it going with the Joe and Jada because I like Joe and Jada show. It's dope. Real talk. Let's get to it.
I'm going to tell you is you're never going to hear a rapper say fucking Coldplay's 1,000,000 times better than Black Eyed Peas. They put that out there, and that's the reason the hip-hop is hanging on a string, is they fucking making everybody go against each other for no reason. Just for small talk and clicks and get the most traffic to your thing. If that's how he feels, fuck it, that's how he feels. But they don't, there's nowhere on Google. You could Google, Chat, GBT, whatever, whoever the fuck you want. You're not going to find Hove or Black Thought nowhere saying the Backstreet Boys is 1,000,000,000 times better than NSYNC. Leave our fucking culture alone. That's my opinion too. Because you're starting off some shit and then he's going to go be in a state-of-the-art hills somewhere making cars and just don't do that. We're called for that. If you feel like that, that's fine. But no. We need no more nuclear bombs set off in hip-hop and let's just call for $1 billion. This guy's a rich tech. He makes cars. He gonna go on an interview and just say, I mean, that's his thoughts, cool, but you don't need that. Think about it. Find me somewhere where a prolific rapper went somewhere and said, this guy's better than Will.i.am 1,000,000,000 times.
Well, if I say it, right, if you say it, you can't say it yourself anyway. Because even the time LL Cool J's invented GOAT, He's one of the GOATs. But when he said I'm better than everybody, or he said some statement like, I'm the greatest.
No, if somebody says it about themselves, it's different than somebody, for one, that ain't the type of music you do ain't even our type of music to just go up there and just put two people against.
He almost lined up Black Thought, huh? Like if you think
he lined up everything, because what the fuck dude I got to...
You know, my homeboy sent me a clip of Joe Budden responding to this, because initially Joe Budden had said that he understands Will.i.am because Black Thought always give you something new, and Jay-Z always regurgitate something we have already heard, but he puts it in a fly way. What I want to say about that is that what was the disrespectful part is that he's a trillion times better. You know, Black Thought ain't a trillion times better than me. If you go listen to my music. These social media platforms, these podcasts, these YouTube shows, these media outlets where you have the artists speaking, we have to protect the culture because the culture is losing itself. And when people get on platforms and they're being interviewed and they speak indecisive like this, Will.i.am wasn't even the best artist in his group. It was Fergie. That wasn't even rap music. We wasn't even listening to that shit. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, man, stop. Your take on hip hop, it doesn't even hold no weight. Even when you said these things and I listened back to it and I heard how Sway responded to it and he was listening to you speak, he wasn't even taking you serious, nigga.
Black Thought is like, damn, that nigga's the facts. He's the dopest. Say it. That dude's the dopest to ever like. And Black Thought is a trillion times better than Jay-Z.
Okay, why you say that? A trillion?
Trillion.
Okay. What's your logic behind that?
In my mind's eye, there's a battle that's going to happen, or it already happened in my mind. And seeing Black Thought, what he's capable of, just off the top. And yeah, Jay's off the top is dope too. And Jay's dope. Don't get me wrong.
No,
but Jay's already said everything that he's just regurgitating everything he's already said, including other rappers. When everything that Black Thought comes up with is like, wait, I never heard that one. Wow, you split that word up like that? Damn, like and that's just my that's just me. Now there's a lot of people that be like, what the fuck you know about hip hop, Will.i.am? I don't give a fuck what you think. I just know what I think and what I in my head, Black Thought, because we like top 5 MCs. It's always big.
I ain't gonna play all of it, man. Y'all can go down the channel about 4-5 uploads before this upload of this podcast, and y'all can go check out what I had to say about that. You know, we gotta stop supporting people saying blasphemous things that separate us and that makes us view one person as less than and one person as, you know, the end all be all, as like highlighting them. I just don't like it, to be honest with you. I agree with Jada Kiss. Other cultures don't do this, man. Other cultures don't downplay one artist to uplift another artist. Jay-Z is dope, man. He's one of the best ever. It's nobody that is in this culture that's a trillion times better than Jay-Z. I might look at Tupac as better than Jay-Z, but he ain't a trillion times better than Jay-Z. I might look at Nas as better than Jay-Z, but he ain't a trillion times better than Jay-Z. I might look at Big as a person that influenced Jay-Z, that Jay-Z, you know what I mean, implemented a couple of his bars and his raps, though, and I don't feel like Jay-Z stole it. He just highlighted his friend. But he's not a trillion times better than Jay-Z. That's just blasphemous, man, for somebody who didn't participate in the culture to even say something like that. You know, just like I said about Nick Fuentes, I'm going to say this about Will.i.am. Shut your hoe ass up, little nigga. Real talk. We about to get into the next conversation. I got a couple of more conversations for the show. And before I get into this one, though, I want to play some of my music, man. Thank y'all for tuning in to my show. Thank y'all for supporting me. We about to get right to it, though.
Niggas didn't want me to blow. It was all a dream for sure. Now I'm up and not looking back. Did the racks, now it's deposits. Life is good when you have options. Niggas cap, never been popular. Diamonds ain't real player, just stop it. All we do is the VV. Shine so bright the lanes can't see me. Been notorious, no biggie, did the Louis. Now I'm at Gucci, yo chick a groupie. Act unruly, niggas goofy, always moody. I'm a dog, call me Scooby. To this game you niggas newbies at pennies, I just want sushi. Left the streets when shit got spooky. Kept it real, that was my duty. My team keep drinks, I told the Uzi. Director of my own movie. Make sure the business runs smoothly. Yours truly been evolved. Beef I had won't be resolved. I ball like Jordan 2-3. Used to be the price of a key. Street dreams, I did that looking back. And I'm still that real nigga. That's too official. We be that y'all artificial. The affiliation ain't beneficial. The case ended in a dismissal. You did the double, I got the triple. Kept my head on the fucking swivel. When I left, shit was crippled. Never been a man in the middle. My life ain't superficial. The streets hot, I made it sizzle. You claim you real, that made me giggle. You niggas paper, way too little. I'm Kyrie, the way I dribble in and out the lane. Sip the champagne, campaign and the team strong. Money talk, that's my theme song. The plug never try to prolong. Every day I got it gone. I'm a starter, you a walk on. And that lame shit, it gets stepped on.
But I like being by myself. Like I like peace and quiet. I like it like I'm a loner, bro. I do better and come up with shit better than I make money, do a lot of shit. Yeah, I do everything better, but just being by myself. You know what I mean? Like, and that shit kinda like a problem. Like I hate that shit. Like, bro, why you by yourself? Why you like I just don't like being around a lot of people.
If y'all want to go check out that record, it's in the playlist of my songs, man. My albums. You know, it was on It's All a Dream. It was all a dream. And Fluent. That's the title of the record. I have plenty of records on that album also that I feel like is dope, man. I would suggest y'all go check them out and go check out the playlist of my music. I got some flawless records on there, some flawless samples, and some great music, man, that I suggest y'all tune out. Tune in. I said tune out. I appreciate y'all though, man. We about to switch up the conversation. We about to get into this Finesse 2 Times and his mother conversation. I remember, I just want to talk about this for a moment. I remember in my hometown in Knoxville, Tennessee, I wasn't there at the time. I'm in whatever city I live in now. You know, I don't want to be too specific, but I'm in Charlotte. And I seen this come across my YouTube. I seen it come across all my social media platforms because I'm still connected with my hometown. And I seen that they paid Finesse 2 Times to come to Cannabuzz. They got the video on YouTube right now of his mom snatching the purse. The money where they was charging people to come in. You know, the entrance fee to the show or whatever. She snatched the bag and took off with it. Her and Finesse ran out the back door. The owner of the club took the Corvette from Finesse 2 times. It was just a bunch of chaos. A bunch of chaos. The police got Finesse 2 times Corvette back. They took off with the money. They went back home. So what I'm saying is the mom participates in criminal activities. She's a criminal just like Finesse 2 times. These people from Memphis, Tennessee, we know Memphis is, I want to speak bad on Memphis, but it's a different place. So when I seen this video of her on live talking about how Finesse 2 times isn't, contributing to her lifestyle, it really caught my attention in a way that, I wanted to speak to mothers, sons, family members about family.
I barely ask for anything because I know he don't like me. I know he don't love me. Ain't no way he can. But I respectfully walk off. I come from the slums of it, y'all. All this fancy shit without some type of motive behind it. I ain't got nothing, and can't invest in nothing. A mother gave me enough money to invest. Why y'all keep talking about invest? Why you didn't take the money he gave you? The man ain't never gave me no more than $2,500 for myself in my hands since he touched down off the jets. I ain't never got no 10, 20, 30,000. I don't know what that look like. I don't know what that look like. Now that I have a felony, ain't nobody trying to hire me. I cried to this lady and told her, please give me a job. I was scammed. And she felt it in her heart to hire me. I got a job this week, just passed. But I can't even get to it. Because I don't have a car. Where I live at, buses don't run. Trains don't run out here. And let me tell y'all this. And if everybody in this live know me from back in the day, please put in the comments whether I took care of my children or not. I'm one that was in the projects that took care of mine. I took extra care of mine. Extra care. My kids didn't want for nothing. My kids ain't want for nothing. Hear me, y'all. My kids ain't want for nothing, especially Ricky. He got more than everybody. He got more than everybody. But it's so much stuff that Ricky has done to me that I've been holding on to for years. And I still forgive him for that. I still forgive him for that. I'm just disappointed in him. I'm disappointed in him. She said, don't act like she ain't never did nothing for me. I'm giving her that. She'll with me the long way. Because why? He won't do it.
Before I get into my take and my thoughts about that, it's sad though. But I want to say this. I love home. I love Tennessee. I love our accent. She said, my churn ain't want for nothing. Churn. How you spell churn? Because it's children at the end of the day. But she said, my churn ain't want for nothing. You know, I think about things in a way of setting up people in my life for success, to be more successful than me. You know, the main reason I stopped hustling and stopped contributing to the street life is because I knew that it would be something that would pass down from generation to generation to the people that came after me. So I stopped participating in it. But what I want to say about this statement before I play, Finesse 2-Time responding to this with a rap. He responded to this with a rap. What I want to say about this is that nobody gonna sympathize with you, moms. Moms, you got to set yourself up for success. You can't depend on your kids. Your kids have their own struggles, their own life to live, and their own, situations they got to deal with. She said he ain't gave me more than $2,500. He don't owe you nothing. Nobody owes you nothing. She said, I don't know what it feels like to get $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, to be honest with you, is the same thing as $2,500 if you don't know what to do with it. $500,000 is the same thing as $2,500 if you don't know what to do with it. It ain't the money. It's you. It ain't him. It's you. You got to look yourself in the mirror and think about the decisions you made. When you create a life, it's hard for me to say this because I don't have children. When you create a life, I'm a son though. When you create a life, you create that life to build it up to be the best human being it possibly can be so it can live a life on its own. When you create that life, you shouldn't expect that life to take care of you for the rest of your life. It's your responsibility to take care of you for the rest of your life, no matter what they obtain. It's not their responsibility. It's people out here who depend on other individuals, who's hindering other individuals' life because they're depending on them to feed them, to take care of them, to buy them new things, to put a roof over their head. And you're going to make a person crash out and run away from you because that's not that person's responsibility. You created me. I was your responsibility. You're not my responsibility. I want to look out for your best interest, even though I'm going to say this and I'm going to move forward. My mama never had to do a GoFundMe. She'll never have to worry about a roof over her head. Before she worry about a roof over her head, I will have one leg and still be happy going to work, one arm, and still be out here doing whatever I got to do to be able to provide before my mom be dependent on the government and be dependent on another individual. Let's see what Finesse had to say through these bars.
Say if you fall, went to jail, came home, went to jail again, came back again, went straight in, copped the beans, went fed, then I lost a lot of friends, 5 years, relatives, family problem, now I feel like Eminem, diss songs, bitch gone, mental problem, now I'm popping Seroquel, bipolar, schizophrenic, paranoid, kicking in, trust issues, finesse gang, Aryan Nation, KKK, what that mean? Fuck niggas, from juvenile to the county, to the pen, all the way to Mason, PSI, ain't rat, check the paper, no cooperation, United States versus Ricky Hampton, no, I ain't penny. In Little Rock, I shoot the spot. The U.S. Marshals caught me with the cannon. But I'm back though, relaxed though. The Prince of Memphis, I'm just being cocky. Cause I live what they rap about. I really got the wounds on my body. Stand down, you get up, baby. They tried to lock me away, but it ain't enough, baby. It's gonna take you an army. It's gonna take you an army. It's gonna take you an army. Say if you fall, where were you on visitation day? I was shedding tears. Where were you when the Fed lawyer told me I was facing 10 years, huh? Machiavelli prosecutor shined on me, labeled me an outlaw. Now I fuck a bitch and play the bitch and kick her out like she was on the alcohol. Protection, they the real estate, manipulate but never told lies. Would demonstrate on any day, get in my way, I put that on the fire. Hey, the same way you fall down is the same way you rise. Look, he faking here, bitch, so it's like the blind leading the blind. Fuck the DA, United States, the prosecutor, lawyer, and the judge. Cause they don't respect them from the judge, ran up and checked and got it out the mud.
I don't know about y'all, but there's a whole lot of speculation going around right now.
Some of the best music is created through pain music, created through life circumstances. I want to send a message to Finesse 2 Times if he heard my podcast. I doubt it. You know, YouTube is an algorithm-based platform, and they'll push you out if they like what you're talking about, and what you're talking about can create advertisement. But if Finesse 2 Times heard my platform, go get your mama, dog. She shouldn't need no GoFundMe. Go get your mom. You know, these hoes, this music, this stunting, this being better than other niggas. You know, go get your mama. Real talk, man. Real talk. That's a sad situation. I want to keep it moving on the podcast, though. And this part of the show is going to be very interesting because, you know, this is talking about OnlyFans. I be defending men a lot on the show. I don't even, you know, when I heard of this person, Lil Tay, it was because she faked her death. And she went viral as a kid. Now, she released this, and it's super viral about her creating an OnlyFans page.
You know what though? Going on, we just broke the link record with the youngest link of the century. $1 million in a couple hours. I'm still the youngest one doing it. For all the grown haters who've been hating since I was 9 years old, look at me now. What y'all got to say? Y'all been doubting me for 7 years. You can hate on me all you want. You can't say Lil Tay ain't winning. So for everybody out there, do whatever the hell you want with your life. Who gives a what people have to say? And remember this, Lil Tay rich and finna get richer. Oh yeah, and thank you to all my supporters who have pre-ordered since 2018 or whenever you did.
It gets harder every day to defend men in this country. Lil Tay launched an OF on her 18th birthday and made over $1 million in just 3 hours. This little girl just turned 18. She has the exact same face that she did when she was 12. She has the same figure that she had when she was 16, 17. But y'all were fantasizing, waiting for this day. Just like with Bahad Bahabi. You remember the Catch Me Outside girl? We watched her grow up on the internet. She launched an OF on her 18th birthday and made $1 million in one day because you people are so disgusting. What is so attractive about a fresh 18-year-old? You people are PDFs.
I'm actually speechless when it comes to this conversation. Because, you know, individuals are nasty. Men, I can't defend a group of nobody. I can't defend a group of my race. I can't defend a group of men, a group of women. I only can defend character and individuals. And I hate to say that because we are stronger as a collective. $1 million in 3 hours. That means if she's charging $10 for a subscription, that means over 100,000 men want to see these 18-year-olds. This 18-year-old naked or having sex or whatever she's doing on her OnlyFans. I don't know what she's doing. But even if she ain't doing a sexual act or whatever, men are subscribing because they want to see something. I don't understand it. And you know, she bragged about pre-orders. People, if people been pre-ordering, waiting on her OnlyFans since 2018, which was 7 years ago. She was 11 years old. Y'all niggas was pre-ordering to her shit, man. You know, a lot of people are PDFs. I ain't gonna say what it is though, but I can't defend y'all no more. Y'all have a demon attached to y'all. You know, lust is a demon. Being lustful is a demonic state. And you shouldn't let that demonic state overpower you. And it's obviously overpowered you if you letting a child influence you to the point to where you attracted to it, to where you'll spend money to see it. It's nasty. I talk about the horny a lot. Ever since the Diddy trial. Ever since Tyler Perry and that white boy. Ever since, a lot of these sexual things that's going on in the entertainment industry. It's just nasty. And to see her make $1 million in 3 hours, to hear about Bad Baby making $54 million in a month, it just shows the state of the male. The male is in a place to where I see why they have, it's something that's going on, male loneliness epidemic. If y'all haven't heard about that, do y'all research on that. The male loneliness epidemic. It's the reason why males are lonely and it's an epidemic. It's because, certain individuals don't know how to articulate themselves when it comes to women. They don't know how to converse. They don't know how to hold themselves accountable. They don't know how to present themselves as a person of value. So it's become an epidemic, and you have men resorting to looking at teenagers on OnlyFans. I'm switching up to the next topic. I can't keep going on. Real talk. I got 2 more conversations I want to talk about, then I'm going to get up off of this thing. I want to talk about Boosie. Boosie, Lil Boosie Badazz. If I can convey my message to Lil Boosie Badazz. He has caught charges as of recently. And in California, he accepted a plea deal in a federal gun case. And Boosie ain't looking too good. It ain't looking too good. We're going to read it. This is according to Vibe.com. We're going to read it and we're going to play his response to it. So Boosie accepts plea deal in federal gun case. I'm tired of fighting. Salute to my dog, Elroy. My boy Elroy told me, you got to talk about this, Trev, because Boosie is a person that has gave his life to his children. He's built an estate. He has did a lot of things to evolve himself and become a better person since he beat the murder trial. And I got a take on this, but I want to present the conversation to y'all before I give my take. So Boosie Badazz could potentially be heading back to prison after accepting a plea deal in connection with a lingering federal gun charge that has resurfaced. The Baton Rouge rapper born Torrance Hatch made an announcement via social media more than 2 years after his initial arrest, closing the chapter on a case that many believe was behind him. The terms of the plea deal have not been publicly disclosed, but Boosie confirmed he had signed off on it. Just accepted a plea deal from the federal government on my gun case, he wrote on X on August the 4th. I thought this case was over and I was going to get on with my life, but God didn't make mistakes and I'm tired of fighting. He also added, talk to my family and this is the right decision. To all my fans across the world, say a prayer for your boy and go and get the new album. Words of a real one. In June 2023, Boosie was pulled over during a traffic stop in San Diego, California, where law enforcement discovered 2 guns. Although the state charges were ultimately dismissed, the following year the federal government stepped in, citing Boosie's status as a convicted felon, making possession of a firearm a federal offense. Boosie had previously expressed relief when the state charges were dropped, seeing the moment as a fresh start. This situation made me see who was down with me and who wasn't, he told Courthouse News at the time. 90% of people thought I was going to prison, but God had a different plan. Now, the federal case back in focus, it appears that plan has shifted once again. While fans await further details on sentencing, Boosie is urging supporters to keep him in their prayers and to support his latest music, even as he prepares to serve time. Yeah. Let me play the clip of Boosie talking about this.
My DM full. A lot of people in my DM tripping about my shows in September because I go for my plea August 26th, but that ain't how I go in Fed court. Once you take a plea, your sentencing ain't till 2-3 months after that. So I'm gonna be at every show, of course. I mean, pool party still going on. Still gonna be crazy. Link in the bio for the tickets. But all my fans across the world, it's just a plea that I'm doing on August 26th. That's it, baby. So that's what I wanted to let y'all know. All my shows coming up, I'm gonna be at all my shows.
You know, I want to say something about this. I wish Boosie well. I feel like Boosie is a person who a lot of people resonate with. But, you know, in street culture, you have to completely remove yourself from the lifestyle if you want to evolve. No matter how much money you obtain, no matter how much fame you obtain, the fame and the money doesn't matter if you don't completely remove yourself. He's in San Diego, California. Gun laws in California and New York is totally different. To me, to be honest with you, this is hard for me to say, but you got to remove yourself from the streets. He's fighting for his kids. He's fighting for building that community that he has in Georgia to be one of the dopest spots for his family, his lineage, and all of that. But once you get to a certain level in the game and a certain level in life, you don't go where you need a gun. That's your ego telling you that you tougher than, you know, that you street, that you this, that you that. You don't go where you need a gun. If you got to go where you need a gun, then you the problem. The atmosphere ain't the problem. You are. I hate to say that about Boosie, though, but whatever happens to him, he served 2 to 3 to 5 years. You know, he knew what he was facing. He knew the consequences of carrying that gun while being a felon. So he got to deal with it. I have no sympathy towards him. Last topic of discussion. We about to move along in the conversation, man. This is a fun topic of discussion. You know, Young Thug and Lotto was recently at this jewelry store, and they was, you know, asked about the 45th and the 47th president. Let's get into Lotto first.
Make me smarter. Hold on. I got you. Hold on.
So $2,000 off if you can give me right answer. Cool?
Okay.
The 45th president of USA and the 47th president of USA, they both have the same parents. How is that possible?
They both got the same parents. The 45th president of the USA and the 47th president got the same parents?
Yes.
How do the 45th president and the 47th president got the same parents?
It's a mystery.
They got the same parents because God made us all. And we all got the same parents. Because we not on the 47th president yet. That's why.
It is. You want to know the answer? So the 45th president was Donald Trump. And the 47th president is also Donald Trump.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.
Hey, that's hilarious, man, because when I think about it, and I think about Lotto, she's 26 years old. She was born when Bill Clinton was the president. She said we're not on the 47th president yet. That was kind of a confusing question to the youth, but I understood the question immediately. I knew it was Donald Trump because he he's one of the only presidents in my lifetime, and I was born in 1980, to where it's a gap in between his presidency. He was the 45th, then you had Joe Biden as the 46th, and the 47th president was Trump again. But he's the only president where it's a gap in his presidency. So it was easy for me to answer that question, but the youth is kind of stumped about that question. But here is Young Thug talking about that question also.
The 5th president of USA and the 47th president of USA both have the same parents. How is that possible?
They got the same parents?
Yes.
I don't get the question. They siblings.
They're not siblings.
Oh, you saying they got the same parents, but they're not siblings?
No. The 45th president and the 47th president have the same parents.
Same parents?
Parents, yeah.
And you saying, how do they have the same parents?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a typical question, bro. Like,
This is easy.
The 45th president and the 47th president got the same parents.
Same parents.
And you're saying, how?
How?
Because they Bushes.
They're not Bushes. That's a good answer. They're not Bushes.
Give me the answer.
The 45th
Wait, did Mulatto answer it?
No, she did not.
Right. She
did not answer. Okay, so the 45th president was Donald Trump, and the 47th president is also Donald Trump.
Okay.
Both have the same parents.
See, the reason why I wasn't going to never answer that is because I don't know the numbers that the presidents was.
That was the case with Burroughs.
That's hilarious. Young Thug is 33. I feel like Young Thug should know that, especially being locked up in prison for the last couple of years. He should be educated on that. He said he didn't know the numbers or whatever, though, but that was just funny to me. It was hilarious to see Young Thug and Lotto do that and not know those answers to those questions. Hey, I appreciate y'all tuning in to my show. Real talk every week. Y'all support me. We'll be back next weekend, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Peace, love, plenty, abundance. Make sure you go get you some money and I'm gone. Chill.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.